I am an expert at doing, and not delegating that to my staff. So you can only do so many and still maintain your turn times and your quality. For real estate agents and lenders, same thing. You can't work for everybody. You have to kind of sit down and decide, and today's a good day to do that, or at least over the next week. Going into 2014, you got to decide the type of client that you want. Now, this is a little bit of a visualization exercise, which I'll get into in another podcast. I talked about it in a previous podcast, but I want to do a little bit more. We got some great feedback on it. But, you have to sit down. I do this about 3 times a year, where you sit down and you write down the main aspects or quadrants, if you will, of your life, from personal to professional, relationship-wise, health-wise, so on and so forth. And then you kind of write down what I call it the perfect day scenario. What your perfect day looks like, what your perfect week looks like, what a perfect year would look like, what a perfect relationship would look like in your life, what the perfect health scenario, what the perfect body you want looks like. It sometimes can be a difficult exercise, especially if you are not, if your body, your mind, your business, your life is not where you want it. You're going to have to face some of your demons, but it's an important exercise. You can sit down and write down, this is what my perfect client would look like. It's going to sound goofy, but I'm just going to use these terms: smell like, act like, talk like. The perfect day looks like, smells like, acts like, feels like. The more detailed you get, the more likely you are to attract that scenario into your business, into your life, so on and so forth. I'm a big believer in this, and I've seen the success and the results in my own life by doing this, and in my businesses. And I'm kind of required now to do it, because I find when I don't do it, my businesses suffer, my personal life suffers, my health suffers. But as soon as I sit down and I write out that contract, so to speak, that script, that perfect day scenario, everything tends to start to fall in place. And I recommend, if you're going to do this exercise, that you every week or every month at least pull that out of the locked drawer, lay it out on your desk, review it, go over it, so you're refreshing your conscious and subconscious mind what your perfect day, week, month, relationship, body, whatever look like. You also check off when you meet with success, when some of those areas are being met or something comes along that matches up with what you wrote down. You need to celebrate success. This is what helps you be grateful. This is what helps attract more of that into your life. So qualify your clients. You can't work for everybody. You need to decide what an A client, a B client, a C client looks like, smells like, acts like, talks like, sounds like, and you go after more of those. It's plain and simple. It really is. You got to get rid of the D clients. Of course, there's the old 80-20 rule, which usually is not 80-20. It's usually 95-5, 99-1. The Pareto principle, which basically says that some smaller percentage, like the 20%, the 5%, the 1%, 20% of your business comes from, 80% of your business comes from the smaller percentage, comes from 20% of your clients. Again, I believe it's usually, in any given situation, more like 95-5. 95% of your business is coming from 5% of your clients. 95% of your income is coming from 5% of your clients. 95% of your time is spent on 5% of your clients. So I think it behooves you as a business professional, whether it be a realtor, a lender, an appraiser, really anybody in any industry, to sit down and look where that 95 and that 5% lie, how much time you're spending, whether or not it's enjoyable time or not. If it's enjoyable time, good, keep it. If it's not, if you're spending 95% of your time on 1 or 2 clients and it's not enjoyable, you need to figure something out. It's either dump those clients, tell them to move on, hand them off to an underling, hand them off to somebody who can deal with them in a different way. Maybe you get some percentage of the commission. Maybe you need to recoach and retrain them on how you do business or how your business is changing. But if you don't take the time to do that visualization exercise, you will be stuck with the same clientele, the same business, the same complaints that you have year after year. I strongly recommend going through that perfect day scenario with all aspects of your life and your business. Number 9, I wrote down, Decide how much you want to earn in 2014. Write it down, back into the number. Now let's unpack this a minute. Decide how much you want to earn in 2014. Even the word decide, I know, scares some of you. You're shaking already. But at some point, you do need to decide. How much do you want to earn in 2014? Then write it down. I know some of you are not big writers. In fact, I'm fully aware that less than 1% of the people listening to this podcast or follow any of our coaching actually do what we ask you to do, but that's why they're the 1%ers. But the more of you that can do it will start to move up into that 1%, 2%, 5% of the people doing all the business. And again, it doesn't matter if you're an appraiser, a real estate agent, lender, or really what business you're in. This is kind of good old universal advice. But decide how much you want to earn in 2014. Write it down and then back into the number. This is a simple exercise. It gets much more detailed when we do our business planning. But if you just do these three things, you're further ahead than probably 95, 98% of the people in your industry. I guarantee if you're an appraiser, you're going to be top 1 point something percent, because almost nobody does this except us top 1%ers. Decide how much you want to earn, write it down, and then back into the number. That's either number of appraisals, if you're a real estate agent, number of sides, number of transactions, number of units, however you measure your business, whatever factor or unit or definition that is. If you're a lender, how many deals are you going to do? How many of it is going to be refinance? How many is going to be new construction? How many will be just general sales? Only you know that, but I strongly recommend, I highly recommend that you figure out, and this is the next step, decide how you're going to get there. What's the business breakdown going to be? What's the mix going to be? For appraisers, how many of those deals are going to be single-family residential appraisals? How many are going to be multifamily? How many condos do you want to do? How many commercial appraisals if you're a commercial appraiser? And then, of course, I wrote add in some new clients. It's got to be part of the deal. Just standard attrition is going to mean that some of your AMCs or some of your lenders either going to fall away, they're going to be unhappy with your level of business. Something is going to happen. You're going to lose some business. So part of this planning for 2014 has to be adding in some new clients. And I talked in an earlier point about meeting some new people and adding some new mix to your business. So I'm just reiterating it here. Decide what you want to earn in 2014 and then go through the practice, the perfect day exercise of figuring out what that breakdown is going to be and how you're going to get there. Number 10, this is super important. Get out of the office. Get out of the office. Now, why would I add that into advice for successful people? Well, quite simply, you got to go do something else. You got to find a hobby. You got to take a vacation. You got to spend some time with family. You got to do some exercise, something for your body. I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions, but if that's what helps you get on the path to wherever you're going in 2014, 2015, 2017, do it. But part of being successful is, of course, working on your business, not always working in your business. But one aspect of being successful is not working on your business at all, but working on you and the multiple circles that make up you and the different areas and where they converge, where they overlap, your relationships, your personal health, your spirituality, whatever it may be, whatever you're going to put in your own circles. At some point, you need to get out of the office. You need to get your head out of the game so that it can remain in the game when it's important to do so. So number 10, I quite simply wrote, get out of the office. Get out of the freaking office. Go do something. Me personally, I do Aikido, as many of you know. I have an Aikido podcast called AikiCast. I teach Aikido. I play hockey on Monday nights in a men's league, have for many, many years. I go to the gym. I like to work out. I love food, so I need to work out because I love eating. Nevertheless, my point is that I have hobbies. I should be much, much better at taking vacations, although in the last year or two, I've taken more vacations than I have probably in my whole life, and really enjoy that. It's not cheap, but you can't take it with you when you go. So I think it's important to go out and see what life has to offer. Check some things off the bucket list, see some places. Those are the vacations, even if they're mini vacations. There's a lot of Thursdays on the calendar. You can easily take a Thursday, Friday, Saturday and go somewhere. Of course, flights are nice and cheap when you go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back Monday. Or during the week, they're actually even cheaper, Tuesday to Thursday. So do whatever fits your schedule, your family time, your overall goals, but get out of the office. So if you want to be successful, more successful, I should say, in 2014, because I know the people listening to this are quite successful in their own right. But I suggest following these tips and do one more. I'm going to call it 10.5. So we won't actually say there's 11. It will screw up my list. Let's just say it's point number 10.5. Get a mentor, get a trainer, get a coach, start or join a mastermind group. Pick one. Follow their training, follow the mentor's guidelines or the coach's guidelines or the trainer's guidelines and training. Set some goals and then follow it. I strongly recommend, and I see far too often people who do not have a coach, a trainer, a mentor, or are part of a mastermind group. And it's done wonders for me and those who are in the mastermind group with me, or those who are also mentored and coached. When I was in the real estate industry, I was part of Joe Stump's Buy Referral Only group. I went to Mike Ferry Superstar Retreats, Floyd Wickman, Sweat Hogs. I followed a bunch of different people. Don't necessarily recommend following a bunch of different mentors and trainers. Point being, just pick somebody and follow something. You need somebody outside the industry telling you what to do, and setting some goals for yourself, and then having some accountability. Sometimes it's just a buddy at the office that can help hold you accountable and push you and set some goals. But I strongly recommend picking a trainer in your industry or outside of your industry. Appraisers are in serious need of coaches, mentors, trainers, and speakers. There are some in our industry, and they're really good, but they are few and far between. The real estate industry is replete with them. There's a bunch of them, and there's some really good ones. You know who they are if you're in the industry. If you're not, just Google them. I just named a few who I know some of them are still coaching and training, because I still follow some of their coaching and training and mentoring, even though I'm not in the real estate industry per se, not the sales side. So that's 10.5. Pick a mentor, a trainer, a coach, a mastermind group, and do something with it. That is the list, folks. That caps 2013. We go out with a bang. We come in with a roar. 2014. I wish all of you superstar success, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. I am Blaine Feyen. I've been your host, and I'm out of here.